Oh, folks, now this may actually be deceiving because we're in Chinatown, but in Japan.
Yep, Yokohama.
Actually. Munch noodle, right?
Yep.
Munch noodle, and this is like, as I understand it, one of the very first Chinese restaurants that opened up in Chinatown here in Japan.
Right.
And we're going to actually get to sit and interview and spend some time with the godfather of Chinatown, like the real godfather of Chinatown. So, Munch noodle, Yokohama, DokoGa TV, Japan Mania.
Yokohama will be celebrating 150 anniversary of actually opening the port. Before 150 years ago, Japan was closed society. Right. Like we didn't communicate with other people from the other places. When they first opened, Yokohama opened its gateway to the world. There are only 5 countries that were allowed to come in or to be connected to Japan. But then China was actually not included back then, so they had to figure out a way to somehow connect them. So about 3,000 people came the first time, and so the Japanese government was in trouble. They adopted the rule where the Chinese people were allowed to come into Japan as a servant to somebody, servant to the foreigner. As when we have people from like Holland or like America, something like that, we didn't speak the language, so didn't know what to do. During the wartime, the Chinese people were actually able to support the community for the Japanese and stuff like that. So they knew how to communicate. These 1,600 people that came from China, they brought the occupation like a barber or a chef or all these things that never really existed until then to Japan. But everything started here, even though everywhere in the world, and people are like, oh, Japan is so cool, like fashion cool, the car that they have is cool, whatever. But this is where everything started. It was brought in. When Perry came on a black ship, they needed to come into a place where a little bit far from Edo area to support, and then so this is the place where they picked.
So that was
the beginning of Yokohama. So 5 different country people that came to Japan first, they eventually left because they had to do the trading or some other business. But the Chinese people were the ones that really supported these people to live here. But then they ended up also living here. This is the number one Chinatown that has the least amount of Chinese people. So the registered people who are actually living here is about only 3,000. About 600,000 people living in Chinatown in Thailand, like about 470 in New York, like 170 in Vancouver. So elsewhere in the world, the Chinatown exists as a way to support the Chinese living there, but this is not. 98% of the people that come to Chinatown are Japanese. So everything, the standard here has to meet the Japanese standard here in Chinatown. 90 years ago, the terrible thing happened, the Kanto, the big earthquake. Because of the Kanto earthquake, they built the schools and they built, all these things. And then, after 60 years, the earthquake happened, which destroyed everything. And so actually 400 people only remained because some people left or some people died. And then, after that, they tried to revamp again. 1,000 people more came, another 1,000 came. But then again, you had the war started. So this was completely on fire, everything was destroyed around here. Not even 1,000 people remained. And then majority of people went back to China. Within 150 years, there's been 2 major disasters. Because this was the beginning of all the globalization for Japanese people, and since people back then were wearing only kimono, stuff like that, but people from China brought in like the shoes, they brought in the regular Western clothes. So if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be looking like this today. His father has 7 family, 7 of them, and then they wanted to make a big success. So they were trying to make it in a bigger city in China area, but then it didn't work out. So it's like, oh, let's go to a bigger city, let's go foreign country. And so kind of like American dream, and so they ended up coming to Japan. His father always told him success is very easy, because everybody work only 8 hours a day, so you just work double. So he said, well, maybe in the Chinatown area, we know what to do with. And so he came and started a restaurant, and he did a lot of volunteer work. His father made the first gate, After that, he made everything. So, he decided to, usually people, come here and then, save money and then go back to China. But then he's like, he fell in love so much that, he never went home. He decided to call this home. And so he's one of the very, very rare, few people, Chinese people that were awarded by the emperor over there. That's that's his father.
I understand he's the chairman of the Yokohama Chinatown Development Association. What is it that you have to do in your roles?
So they did marketing, advertising, everything, just like a company. But then if one restaurant he sees, not really doing well or not clean or something like that, he'll go there physically and be like, please make change because, not just for yourself, but then it affects the whole, Chinatown. And, there are about 230 Chinese restaurants, and, he'll go and then drink some tea, and that's okay. But everybody,
they help each other.
They just help each other.
I normally ask this of our guests, but have you been to Hawaii before?
Every year.
Every year.
一番最初に行ったのがあれですか、ハニムーンで行って。
First time
そ
was
れで行
honeymoon.
って、ドンホーのあれを見たときに、they check my driver's license and then で初めて行ったからドライバーズライセンスとか持ってないし、で最初の日には断られた。でみんなハイスクールキッドを思われたから。
Oh, because they thought he was a high school kid. They tried to check the driver's license, but he doesn't have one. So he's like,
oh, that's too funny.
だから未だにドンホー大好きです。
So he loves Donho.
Yes, that was a loss, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Mahalo, thank you very, very much. Again, here with the godfather of Chinatown.
Yes.
So, Hayashi and DokoGa TV Japan Media. Thanks for watching.